hard skills and soft skills play a huge impact for you be effective in your career in pricing.
Coffee's for closers only.
So we've established my proposal is sound in principle. Now we're just haggling over price.
Let's see how much we're going for on eBay.
Man, it's the same as Dunkin' Donuts. Costs 15 times the price.
Welcome to Impact Pricing, the podcast where we discuss pricing, value, and the behavioral relationship between them. I'm Mark Stiving, and our guest today is Alex Costa. And here are 3 things you want to know about Alex before we start. He started Attitude Pricing in 2022. He's led pricing in several different companies since 2007, and he plays in a rock and roll band and is a huge fan of music. Welcome, Alex.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Oh, thanks. It's going to be a fun conversation. So tell us, how'd you get into pricing?
Well, Mark, I started in the pricing in sales. In a consumer good company, and it's curious because I had this curiosity to learn why people inside the companies keep saying, "Oh, I don't have margins to invest in customers. I don't have I don't get to give you more discounts." And this curiosity led me to get into the pricing. And here I am. 15 years after working in pricing in these industries that you just mentioned.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny that people think in terms of I don't have enough margin. And if you're anything like me, you know that margin has nothing to do with pricing. I mean, it's the end result of pricing. Yeah. But it certainly isn't what we think of when we think of pricing.
Yeah, that's it. Margin's just the results that comes from the pricing that you set for your product or service, but it's not the target that we have to pursue. In fact, we have to understand the market, all the things that impacts prices, but not sometimes you have to work with low margins.
Yeah. So you put together, what we're going to talk about today, by the way, is you put together a list of 11 skills that pricers need or should have. And I'd love to chat with you about some of these just because they look interesting and fun. And it's always good for pricing people to know what skills they could and should be working on.
Yeah.
But instead of me tossing one out to you, let me ask you, which is your favorite? Which do you think is the most important skill for pricing people to be focused on?
Yeah, let me just try a little bit of context here. First of all, when I start my career, I think just studying and get some, let's say, college grades and hard skills will be enough to achieve the goals in my career. And during my career, I realized that the soft skills play a huge role to achieve the best goals I had in price. But responding your question, I think the most important skill for me, in pricing, I think it's to being sales partner of sales team, because during our conversation, you see that it's a controversial of my part being a pricing professional, but let's see my perspective. Prices is made to, let's say, put a monetary symbol, let's say that way, to sell products and services. And so for me, pricing helps sell things, sell products and services in the organization. So between my 11 competence, there is a one that I like most, that is being a sales partner with sales teams.
So I'm going to take a step back for just a second. If you think about your own mind or your own mental state, do you think that you're more logical based, and that's why the soft skills didn't come as quickly?
Oh, I don't know if of course I'm a logical professional but I think it comes to me because the hurdles I had to face in my experiences in my career, that brings me that soft skills. It's important part of the abilities that the pricing professionals have to deal with every day.
Yeah, I think that's true. I was very logical. Hopefully, I still am a little logical, but I was very logical, and I found these soft skills. They were hard for me to come by. Right, I had to work at them and have some really bad experiences to get to them.
Yeah.
So it was it's good that you found them quickly. So, what do you think it takes to be a good partner to salespeople?
I think the most important thing to us, pricing professionals, is to engage with sales objectives, to understand what the goals of sales teams are, but of course, align with the goals of the organizations, and try to be consultative, not reactive towards these goals. You have to guide the salespeople to facilitate the way that they will reach the sales goals. And it's interesting because I've had some experience in the past that some pricing managers creates a wall between the both teams, pricing teams and sales teams, instead of create a bridge where they will get together and understand the objectives of both teams. And this bad experience bring me some bad experience, because I think as a pricing manager, we have to work as a collaborative way. Let's say pricing manager should take away all bureaucracies, all the things that could not be able to sales teams achieve their goals. What do you think?
That's a really interesting concept because if we think about the wall for a second, I could see why companies want to build the wall between pricing and sales. And that's because pricing people want higher prices. Salespeople tend to want lower prices, and salespeople are more persuasive than pricing people are. And so if we build the wall, it keeps salespeople from persuading pricing people to give discounts. And what we really need is we need pricing people who are confident enough in the value. They can have conversations with salespeople. And it isn't that we have to persuade them. We have to help them sell our products at the prices we think they deserve.
Okay, Mark, but let me bring now a hard skill. That's why I push pricing professionals to understand deep the concepts of data. When you know all the data inside of your organization about your customer, you can argue against these persuasive teams that we have some point. Okay, we wanted to be partner of you, but here, let's see the numbers. The numbers tells us that it's not the time to concede a huge discount. It's not the time to invest in that customer. But again, you have to have soft skills to bring this conversation into a more, let's say, collaborative way. You don't have to push and force the teams that, oh no, you don't have to give this discount. We just bring data, and then we can show the sales teams that in this moment is not able to consider discounts. But can you see that it's different when you bring data, when you try to make them be part of the decision? It's different when you say, just put a wall and say, no discounts for this customer. If you don't understand why, probably you create a resistance and a conflict.
Yeah. I think that's a great answer. It's always easier to say to salespeople, I'm not sure why we need to give this discount because these other 5 salespeople were able to win the deal at the regular price or at this price.
Yeah.
And so if we could demonstrate that it's feasible and possible to go win the deal, then we could push back and hopefully not give as many discounts, not give as much discounts. So yeah, having that data is really key. Really key.
Yeah.
Do you have another favorite or do you want me to pull one out?
Okay, let me see. I think sometimes you have to share knowledge inside the company, because I used to say that the pricing, as us as a pricing professional, we don't create data to set prices. We just consume data from different areas inside the company, of course, outside the company. So you sometimes you have to be together. Sometimes now, every time you have to be together with these internal areas. Then you have to share knowledge. You have to explain and show the benefits that pricing brings to the organization. And when you share the knowledge, when you make the peers know the intricacies of the pricing, the benefits, they feel like they belong. When they feel they belong, they will facilitate the information. You take off locks in the informational process, and probably it will make you get more easy way to accomplish the pricing goals.
Yes, and so not only do we want to, my opinion, not only do we want to share knowledge and information, it's really nice to be collaborative and find out what everybody else is trying to get accomplished as we set these prices and pricing strategies, so that the people inside the company, A, know that we listen to them, and B, when we come back and say, here's why we did this, they know they were part of that process. So usually
Yeah.
that's much more effective.
Yeah. If further than that, they will, let's say, they will prioritize the demands from pricing, because it's a human behavior as well. As you treat people like they belonging, they will facilitate your your communication with them. This competence, Mark, is like a change management approach. It's put focus on the people aspect inside the projects or companies. Now, and of course, talking about the pricing aspects.
Yeah. So if I get to choose my favorite up here, which would it be? It's pretty hard. I'm going to choose emotional control.
Oh my!
So,
This is
so
a
tell me
key.
why you added. Tell me why you added this to your list.
I have to tell you something. When I first developed this concept, it was 10 competence that I think forged the effective pricing professional. But I had the peculiar experience that I lose my temper, being honest with you. And as I will say to you, even though we be empathic with people, we treat people good, we share knowledge, you do everything in towards the best interest of company, will always be in pricing some individual that will resist to be in your side. They will try to make everything to you not to accomplish your goals and to succeed and change the let's say the culture of the company towards a pricing culture. It's because everybody knows that inside the organizations there is a common phrase that say, I always do that like this. I don't want it to change. When you bring something new, there is always be someone that will block your hold. And if I used to say, just to finish my thought here, if you don't control your emotions will control your career in your project. So I think that be composure, be in control of your emotions, because if you lost your temper, as I mentioned to you, that it happens to me, probably you weaken your position inside the company and of course inside your project, and everything's going to fail.
Okay, so I think the reason I like that one the best is because I was just like you, right? I used to lose my temper, and anytime you lose your temper, you actually lose control of your thinking. You lose control of the situation, and you never ever look back and say, "Wow, I'm glad I lost my temper." Right?
Yeah.
Never.
Never, never. You will regret forever is too much time, but I think you do regret thinking about it. How could you do different?
Yeah.
But
So I'll
sometimes
share the trick
emotions.
that I learned.
Okay, I wanted to learn from you.
And I don't know if anybody else uses the same trick, but I learned there were two things that really started focusing on not losing my temper. And the first one was I would always focus on the objective, right? If
Yeah,
I could get myself out of it and just think about what's the objective of the program, then it would really help me to just say, oh, no, this is the objective. Don't worry about me or how I'm being treated or what's going on. And then the other saying that I use all the time, do you want to be right or effective?
perfect.
Right. And so you lose your temper if you want to be right. And if you want to be effective, you got to go along. You got to do something else, get along with people. So I love that. You have to have control over your emotions.
Okay, I've incorporated these tips in my way of thinking. But normally people say that we don't take things personally, but it's hard. It's hard. I think it's the same way to say what you just said. It's not take things personally. We had to move on and keep focus on the main objectives of the company, of the project we are inside. But I have to confess again, there is some individuals that are specialists in make us lose our temper.
I couldn't agree more. Another really quick story, if you don't mind. I don't think I've ever told this one on
No,
the podcast before. There was a guy early in my career that I don't know why, but it felt like he hated me.
that
And of course, I didn't like him either. So it was even. And, and I was taking a course called Dale Carnegie. And one of the things they teach you in this course is to give a sincere compliment.
okay.
And so I thought about this guy and I said, what's something that I really like about this guy? And I thought hard about it and I came up with a really good compliment and I gave him this compliment and it changed our relationship. I was so amazed at the impact of this single thing that happened. So I think if we look for the best in people, we say nice things to people, it changes the way people react to us and respond to us. So I
Yeah,
thought that was really interesting.
it worked. In
Yeah,
fact, it
how it
worked.
worked.
The strategy worked.
Yeah, they don't always work, but that one did. So I was pretty happy.
Yeah,
So let's talk about value-based sales, which is quite possibly my favorite topic.
yeah.
What do you think of when you think of value-based sales, and how do you think pricing people should be involved?
Yeah, this is a topic that I really like it because I learn a lot from the reading of your books. Yeah, and
Thank
I
you.
I think it's a especially here in Brazilian markets, it's something that we are struggling to reach. I don't know in other countries, in the other uh, let's say companies that I didn't work it yet, but I think the perspective should be the satisfaction of the customer. Here in Brazil, there is a lot of a cost plus margin in operation. Uh, Sometimes you see companies following the competitors, but I think there is a tricks over here as well because I used to say if the competitors are make some mistakes, we'll follow as well. But when you look for the the satisfaction from the customer, what the perspective of the value that they will take from your product or services, you can position your pricing better. You can understand the willingness to pay that they bring into the place to make the decision of buy things. But as I just said, sometimes the companies here in Brazil they struggle to understand that, and I really wanted to bring. That's why I created attitude pricing to, let's say, share knowledge to some experience to bring all together, and we start to not focus only in costs and competitors.
Yep, absolutely. So that would be us as pricing people trying to set prices based more on value. Um, do you think pricing people should be coaching sales on what the value is and how to sell value, or is that belong somewhere else in the company?
Well, Mark, I think pricing could and should do this perfectly, but sometimes even inside the pricing professionals community that I chat or I make some conversation, they still see pricing as a financial and like we talked about in the beginning, this conversation, more focus on margins, on the results of pricing. And I think it's pricing needs to be more, let's say, mentored or trained to understand that they have the power to take this culture of sales-based prices to sales teams. But there is a thing that I have to share with you. I know you, there is a lot of discussions where pricing should sit as a department. And I know you are in favor to sit close to project, the product, sorry, product area, product managers. And I think product together with pricing teams could make this happen, to train sales teams to understand value. And there is an important pointer here. Sometimes inside the organizations I work for, they think value comes just for the aspects of the product, the attributes of the product. But for me, the value in the mind of the consumer and the customers comes from entire chain of value of the company. The people that, let's say, you charge someone that sometimes not pay the bills, the payments, the installments that they make with the company, the logistics, let's say, the moment the company will deliver their products to the customer, the people that are handle the product to the customer will be in touch with the customer. So if they, let's say, make some mistake, everything you did in the entire value, in the entire value of chain of your company, you, let's say, you break down.
That is so right. I like to say that everybody in a company either creates or destroys value.
Yeah.
And so you need to know where you are. And if you want a great example of that, just off the top of my head, imagine that you go to some place and you're in a long line to be able to buy something and the line's moving very slowly. It has nothing to do with the quality of the product or the value of the product. You just say, hey, I'm not going to wait in this line, and you leave and you
Yeah.
don't buy.
Yeah.
And so there's an example of something that had nothing to do with the product.
Yeah.
But we lost a customer because of it.
Yeah. I used to link this perception when we go to have a dinner or have a lunch in a restaurant. The food might be amazing, flavored, spicy, but with the waitress or someone that attend you make some mistakes or treat you with indifference, probably you won't get back there. You will discard all the things about the delicious food that you tasted, but you want to buy again. You don't come back to this restaurant. Do you agree?
Yep. Great. Absolutely. That was a great example. Great
Yeah.
example. So, Alex, we're going to have to start wrapping this up, but I have two questions I'm going to end with you. First
Okay.
one, are you publishing a paper with these 11 skills?
I just published my paper into the PPS newsletter recently, and just that's it. It's the only place, official place that you can reach my article, my 11 competence article, and I use a lot of LinkedIn to spread my knowledge, spread my perspectives on price, and that's it for today.
Oh, okay. And then the question I always end with is What's one piece of pricing advice you would give our listeners that you think could have a big impact on their business?
Yeah, first of all, link it with the subject we just talk about. Hard skills and soft skills play a huge impact for you. You'll be effective in your career in pricing. And they are not, let's say, exclusive thing. I think hard skills open a lot of the doors for you to be in the great projects, but soft skill will make sure you gonna succeed, especially when you are talking about emotional control. Don't forget it. But a piece of advice I would give the pricing professionals is about to gain, let's say, support from the CEO and executives from the company or projects you are working for. Because as we always talk here in this conversation, there is a side, there is an aspect of change behavior, change management, change uh, everything inside the culture of the company. If you have the support from the top management of the company, probably you get more easy path to achieve the pricing goal, Mark.
Yeah, nice. I got to say, I really liked what you said when you started this off, and that was having the hard skills opens the doors, and having the soft skills helps you be successful. So,
Yeah.
excellent. Alex, thank you so much for your time today. If anybody wants to contact you, how can they do that?
Yeah. And everyone can reach me on LinkedIn, where I spread my concepts and my content in about the attitude pricing. And that's it.
Nice. I will have a link to your LinkedIn page in the show notes. And to our listeners, thank you so much for your time. If you enjoyed this, would you please leave us a rating and a review? And if you have any questions or comments about this podcast or pricing in general, feel free to email me, mark@impactpricing.com. Now, go make an impact.